Yo, everybody, welcome to another episode of The Gauntlet, your place for the NFL on the Sideline Sports Network. I am your host, James Tatum. I am back after I took last week off. We have a lot to get into tonight, so let's not waste any more time. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, the other members of the Gauntlet team. There we go. Even though I can't see half of you guys, it's good to see you. Or be graced with your presence.
Well, JJ is pulling tales from the campfire duty as usual with no campfire. And Dom looks like he's Ubering with no hotties in the backseat.
JJ out here with more scary stories to tell in the dark.
Right. Yes, more scary stories, please.
Hey, what's the Wizards' record?
Ass.
A lot of losses and a little bit of wins.
Oh, I guess that'll be the scariest thing we come across this telecast.
Indeed. No, actually, no. Nothing is scarier than how Jordan Poole plays right now. Nothing is scary.
Oh, Poole not. Oh, what happened to Splash Party? Oh, he don't got the other ones. Never mind.
Please, we already knew he was not going to be anything here, but it is what it is.
Okay, guys, so let's step into the gauntlet right away, right off the bat. I got one for you.
All right.
Start one, bench one, cut one. NFL all-time defenses. 2000, Baltimore Ravens. 2013, Seattle Seahawks. 1985, Chicago Bears. Go.
Start the Ravens. Because, I mean, anyone who only needs 16 points to win and dominates is sick. So start the Ravens, bench the Bears, cut the Hawks.
Okay.
Ravens, Bears, Hawks.
Dom?
Dominic.
Me or JJ?
JJ win already.
JJ already went.
Oh, start Bears, bench Ravens, cut Seahawks.
I'm going out on a limb here. I am starting the Ravens, and I'm benching Seattle, and I'm cutting Chicago because I think that if Chicago's defense was playing in an era against much better offenses, then they wouldn't have as much success. But I think if Baltimore was playing today or Seattle was playing today, they would still be able to dominate in this offensive era. So that's the reason I'm going with them.
Okay.
So, guys, we're going to talk about it later in the show, but Buffalo Bills, they lose to New York Jets this week. Their season is officially over.
No.
Yes.
If I remember correctly, you never really had them in the playoffs to begin with.
Oh, no, I had them in the playoffs. I just didn't see them as a real threat to win the Super Bowl. But if you look at their upcoming schedule, which we'll talk about later, if they lose, they cannot afford to lose that game with the other games they have coming up. So that's my reasoning for that. But with that being said, Bengals, Joe Burrow out for the season. Is their season over?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cleveland.
That's why the Bills season isn't over.
You said Cleveland?
Is Cleveland's season over?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
No, it's not. They got a better chance of making it than Cincinnati.
I think the thing is, what I would even mention of that matter is Joe Burrow on alone would probably be the reason why they would be gone. But if Cincy had a good defense like Cleveland, they may had a chance against lesser opponents. But their schedule doesn't set up well for them because they play every game against a 500 record or better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cincy's defense isn't bad at all. It's just not enough to carry them.
No, it's definitely got some issues. That safety tandem has gone, and they can get scored on in bunches. It is actually pretty.
Let's do a couple more. Micah Parsons is the most valuable defensive player in the NFL right now.
Negative.
Man, hell no. I don't even know if he's in the top 5.
Then who is?
We'll talk about it later, but I say Garrett because they're at least winning games with a backup quarterback. Meanwhile, Dallas offense is still Dallas offense.
I'll be honest with you. I think TJ Watt.
What does that have to do with Micah Parsons?
I think
TJ
Watt
doesn't have anything to do with Mike.
I think TJ Watt is
talking about just who is the most valuable defensive player. Which player brings the most value to their team?
I think it's
TJ Watt. I think it's TJ Watt.
Not Parsons.
I'm still going with Garrett.
Okay. Yeah. It's TJ Watt. It's either.
I'm also not going to say. I'm
Myles
also going to say no. I'm also going to say no, but I'm not going to dismiss what Parsons brings to the table just because he plays for a team that I hate. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and move on, man. Let's get into our sports morons. Sports moron of the week. You guys know what this is. This is a part of the show where we take a look at the dumbest things that have happened in the world of sports, and we break it all down, guys. So let's get to it. Sports moron of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, sports morons of the week. Would anybody like to kick us off right away?
Go ahead, JJ.
Just get back. Where's the sound?
Everybody dying to get some
Can't
off
hear
their
anything.
chest.
Damn it.
Mr. James Harden. Hey, Mr. James Harden. Boy, oh boy. The things that are coming out about this man and what he says. It's just like, I don't know what's wrong. Him or the teams that are stupid enough to sign him. I think he said here said he was the best player on every team that he's played on. You just like taking shots at teams for no reason. Like, you really just like taking shots at teams for no reason. And yeah, enough to be said with that. Thank you for giving me a moron, because I didn't have one until you started talking, James Harden.
Where'd Dom go?
Okay, does anybody else have something that they want to share?
DeRubeis.
Okay. At first I didn't have one, but I'll just address it. So there's been talk that John Jones should vacate his UFC heavyweight title because they're protecting him. I guess. No, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no. The UFC is not protecting John Jones. I don't think they ever have. As many suspensions as that man has had for all of his off the octagon issues. If they're protecting him, they would have looked the other way on at least a few of those. And that man stayed in trouble at one point. So the notion that the UFC is protecting John Jones, no, they've held that man accountable more than probably any other fighter for damn sure in recent memory, and probably in even further history than that. I don't believe that for 1 second. So yeah. So whoever it's Aspinall says that Jones should vacate the title. Yeah, no, I don't think that he should. I think that his career is coming to a close because he feels like he's done it all now. We're talking about a guy with only one no contest, and no losses. So, I mean, there's Dom. There we go. So, yeah, the notion that UFC's protecting them, negative. The fact that he even came back and immediately got a title shot after how long out? Yeah, how is that? I mean, no. He just proves he's the best over and over.
Dom, sports moron?
It is Carolina Panthers head coach Frank Reich.
Ooh.
Frank Reich announced, I think today or maybe yesterday, that he is reclaiming play calling duties from their offensive coordinator after 3 weeks. I would assume he was calling plays from the start of the season and then I guess took a 3-week break, at which point those are the only 3 weeks that Carolina's offense looked anything like an actual NFL offense. They won a game. It looked like Bryce Young was starting to play better. And then now he's taking play calling duties back with no other explanation other than, I've built my my success in this league by, being a coordinator and calling the plays. Like, okay, but you're not a coordinator anymore. You're the head coach. And it's like, how many more times do you want to cut the nuts of your OC for one, for two? If you have an OC and they're not calling plays, why do you even have an OC?
That's a good point.
Like you trust him enough to draw up the offense, but not enough to call the plays.
There's just a lot more responsibilities with being a head coach than being a coordinator. If you're going to call plays, calling plays is part of it, but the head coach has to make a lot of decisions. Are you going to go for it? How are you going to play the game? How aggressive are you going to be? How are you going to handle like situational football? How are you going to manage the game? Like there's a lot of responsibilities with being a head coach, which is why some coordinators don't really work out as when they get to that position.
I think it's a scenario of he's trying to save his job, but by the same token, a lot of the times when a coach is maybe on the hot seat and at the end of the season, they'll just fire the coordinator.
Tyler,
there's
what's
Tyler.
up, Tyler?
There he is.
What's up? What's up? What's up, friends?
Now we got all
Just
five
like the old days, man.
live. And shout out to my boy Devon Curry, a.k.a. Debo. Both me and Tyler sporting jerseys that we got from him. So, holler at your boy if you need a hookup.
Yeah, I got Dansby on. I got Dansby Swanson on, so repping my Cubbies.
Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. So, Tyler, you got any sports morons that you want to share?
Oh, sports morons, huh? Have you guys all shared already?
Yeah, we did.
I'm the only person that hasn't gone yet, but if you want me to go and come back to you.
Yeah, go ahead, James.
Okay, Wyatt actually brought this up in the comment section. I'm glad he brought it up. Carissa Thompson said that when she was a sideline reporter, she used to lie about stuff. Like, how when the sideline reporters at halftime or after halftime said blah, 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 spoke to the coach or whatever, and he said oh, we need to adjust our defense. We need to get off the field on third down. All sorts of stuff like that. She used to not talk to coaches and then would just make up random stories. And she admitted it. And then she got a bunch of backlash for it. And then she tried to justify it. So I just feel like doing something like that and going public with it. If you're going to do that, then keep it a secret. Because I don't think you want the whole sports world to know that you made an ass out of yourself. And you're proud of it, by the way. Which gives a lot of people in media and journalism and things like that, gives them a bad look. So Carissa Thompson, sports moron of the week for me.
Okay. I got two that come to mind for this week now. One being Stephen A. Smith, which this happens a lot in this segment. This has been happening for years with him. But he made the comment that the Browns season is over because of Deshaun Watson's injury. I thought that was kind of foolish. If you've watched the Browns this season, they're a defensive, heavily football team. I don't think it necessarily matters. There's been times that Watson, last week, Watson showed himself in that second half fourth quarter, we'll even say, against Baltimore, when they came back from being down 14 in that quarter and won that game, and he was part of it. But there's been other games this year that he's thrown 3 interceptions and the Browns have won despite it. So I thought that was a foolish statement from Stephen A. Smith. I don't think the Browns are dead. They're a 6-3 football team. I think if they can win 4 games, they're a playoff team. So I don't think their season is over. And then 2, Dan Orlovsky, because Dan Orlovsky stuck up for Josh Allen this week and was saying that Josh Allen is not the reason why the Bills are in this position. I do agree. Me and JJ touched this on Picked Off on Wednesday. I do agree it's more of a Sean McDermott thing, I think. But I will say that when you are sticking up for a guy who doesn't check down enough, you're gonna kind of get some blame. And I didn't really like that he was like basically saying, well, it's pretty much everyone's fault except for Josh Allen because he puts you in position to win and he can make those big plays. And he's a big reason why the Bills are even winning football games. When it's really like, I had Brett Favre on my team for years, so I've dealt with this Josh Allen kind of situation. There's so many times that Brett Favre could have won games by checking down, making smart plays, and instead he was playing hero ball and being a gunslinger and throwing, careless passes and what do you know, being the interception king. And that's what Josh Allen's doing right now. So he's got to take some blame. And it's hard to hear it coming from a guy like Dan Orlovsky, the guy who, was tiptoeing for his safety, one of the most embarrassing plays ever as a quarterback. So, yeah, he's in my sports Moron as well.
As time goes on, like when Orlovsky first came on the scene as a commentator or whatever, I really liked him a lot. And the more time that goes by, it's like more and more of what he says, I can't get down with.
And I agree. I think like sometimes like I really try and give people the benefit of the doubt, and I do think sometimes Dan Orlovsky makes some decent points. Like he's not bad at predictions for one. Like he does a fair job at predicting football games, but he sticks up for quarterbacks a little too much, and it's because he's a quarterback, and I get it.
Trade,
but
he stuck up for Carson Wentz.
Yeah, he does it a lot, and it kind of gets old. It's like when they were talking about that segment and they went to him, I kind of knew he was going to stick up for him before, Yeah. And it's like, come on, man.
Something's
like at a certain point, you got to put some blame.
Oh no, I mean we're going to talk about the Bills and the Josh Allen thing later on, but yeah,
I can't touch that point on it.
We'll get more into it then, but that concludes us for Sports Moron. Next, we know it's time for the Gauntlet Grinders for last week. Does anybody want to start us off?
Real quick, in the AFC, and granted, it'd be easy to say CJ Stroud because he had another game-winning drive. But actually, I'm going to give it to running back Devin Singletary. He had 30 carries for 150 yards. He averaged 5.0 yards per carry. He had a touchdown. Really getting it going in the absence of Dameon Pierce. He finally found an offense to where he can get his fair, even though he's splitting carries with Dameon Pierce when Pierce is healthy, but now he's been in relief of him for the last 2-3 weeks, and they really got him going, and it was great to see the Texans establish the run through Singletary. Not only he's lethal catching passes out of the backfield as well, there's always that. So I got to give it to Singletary on that one. In my NFC, sorry, Dom, if this is going to be yours, but I'm going to give it to Sun God.
Just go ahead and take both of mine. Cool.
I'm giving it to Sun God. 8 receptions for 156. He averaged 19.5 yards, a catch and a touchdown, and a win in that shootout in Los Angeles against the Chargers. Definitely establishing his dominance as a part of that wide receiving core, and it's only going to get better from here. All right, I'm good. JJ?
Okay, my bad. Sorry. I'm going to give it to TJ Hawkinson for the NFC because he's playing like easily a top 3 tight end right now. He's definitely knocking it out with them. People thought that when Kirk Cousins went down, it would kind of been a drop-off, but it seems like he just doesn't look like he's messed a step. And, with Justin Jefferson going down, there was a lot of questions with this team, but he's been balling. And in AFC, I hate to say this motherfucking man because it happened against my squad, but I'll give it to Deshaun Watson because he did the dang thing. He really did the dang thing. He was mobile. He was doing his thing. He moved around. And I'm telling you, adrenaline is real. To play on like a broken shoulder or however you want to describe it and still be able to make it is like pretty intense. And that wasn't an easy defense to go against. They may have helped you and everything in certain things with the offense, but the defense was still a premier unit. So there goes my Grinders.
Tyler?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like and he didn't light up the stat sheet, but I'm gonna put Cortland Sutton as one of my Gauntlet Grinders from the AFC. I thought that catch was amazing. I'm glad that they reviewed that. He's like low key super underrated. I don't think every year, he's kind of like a Christian Kirk. Like every year, we kind of forget about some of these receivers who are solid receivers. And I think Cortland Sutton's one. I thought the catch was amazing. That was one of the better catches I've seen all season, actually. And then the NFC, God, I hate to say it, but I got to give some love to Josh Dobbs. He keeps doing this thing that he's comeback player of the year, in my opinion. Sorry, Hamlin supporters, but he's comeback player of the year right now. The dude, he didn't know his teammates' names the first week, and then he plays again. Another thing about him is he don't turn the ball over at an alarming rate. Like he's very good at being a smart quarterback. And that's something that I think gets overlooked a lot. I mean, granted, the guy looks like Little Bill, but the dude's a baller. So I'll give my NFC Gauntlet Grinder to Josh Dobbs.
Sweet.
I like it, Tyler. I like them both.
Appreciate it.
You took my AFC one. That's fine. I'm glad you went first, so you could say that. I thought you were going to take my NFC one, but I'm giving it to I'm still waiting for a better nomination for a name for the Lions backfield, but between Montgomery and Gibbs, they had right around 30 carries, almost 200 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. That long touchdown run by Demo sprung by 2 different blocks on the same run by J-Mo. He blocked a guy on the second level. Then he ran past Montgomery and blocked another guy, then let him get into the end zone. But yeah, shout out to that Lions backfield and our strategic shootout victory. As I said in the third quarter, I'm like, we can't stop them. They can't stop us. Let's just get the ball last. We did, and we won. And Chargers still charging.
Dude, it's like clockwork. If the Chargers are in a 1-possession game with a minute and a half left in the game. It's like we've seen this for 3 or 4 years now. It's crazy.
It's almost like they've mastered losing 1-score games.
Yeah,
in games that
they are so good at losing really close football games.
The Chargers are 482 and 482 and 11 all time, and Herbert is 29 and 29 as a starter. And since his first start, they have scored 1,502 points and allowed 1,502 points.
I believe
the most mid team of all time.
They don't get blown out, but you know what I mean? They lose close games.
They'll lose.
That's kind of wild, bro.
Playoff game.
Just can't understand how you can. It's wild that it actually has a stat like that. Like that literally is how it happens.
That is
somehow a mid stat.
Somehow in this universe, the stars aligned in this literal exact moment is the stat. It's like the New York Knicks had the same stat last year in the basketball season. Like how and shout out to the people that spend the time to figure that out, because I would never. I'm sorry. That's like accountant type work times 10.
That is the definition of Chargers charging.
It is.
Someone said that to me. They're like, your Packers are so bad, they're going to get hammered on Sunday. And I'm like, we're playing the Chargers. We're going to be in the game at the very end.
If it's close, and that's why I said what I said on Picked Off, Tyler. If it's close, I'm giving Jordan Love a shot because
it will be close.
Staley going to find a way to lose that game. He's going to find a way to lose the game.
Y'all might go on a little run for no reason because you can beat the Chargers, and I am very worried about the Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, you never know with that turkey game.
Yeah.
Turkey game. To be honest with you guys probably covered all the Gauntlet Grinders. I really want to also say shout out to Josh Dobbs because this dude has been all over the place in the league. Like he started the season, was supposed to be with the Browns. He got traded. That was unexpected. Went to Arizona. Jonathan Gannon told him that he wasn't going to trade him, and then he traded him. He went to Minnesota and won the last 2 games. So if he leads them to the playoffs, you really have to consider him for comeback.
The surefire way that you know you're going to get traded is when someone tells you you're not getting traded.
Yeah, he's my comeback.
Well, whatever.
I know.
I don't think Minnesota's upset.
I think a lot of people are going to give it to Hamlin, and I get it. But, at the same time, it's like if you really look at that award, like Geno Smith winning it last year, I think it's Josh Dobbs right now. I think
I don't really get the Hamlin thing, and we will talk about our midseason awards later. I'll explain that later, but we'll get to that. Moving on. let's talk about some current events. The Buffalo Bills are 5-5 after the 24-22 loss to the Denver Broncos. Ladies and gentlemen, their upcoming schedule, playing the Jets this week, then they have a road game in Philadelphia. Then they play the Kansas City Chiefs. Then they play the Dallas Cowboys. And it doesn't get any easier. They still got to play the Miami Dolphins a second time. There's a lot of really good teams remaining on the schedule. They fired the OC. Bills are in full panic mode. Ladies and gentlemen, is their season over with a loss on Sunday to the Jets? I know I asked this during the Gauntlet Grinders, but I'm going to present it again. And now that I've presented the upcoming schedule, are you still saying no, their season's not over?
I'm going to take a chance and still say no, because there's a such thing as a team winning a game that they shouldn't win. That's not sitting there to say that can't happen down the stretch. Now, I still got them to beat Dallas because Cowboys find a way to cowboy at the wrong possible time. The other ones remain to be seen. At least they dominated Miami in the first meeting, and Miami still has yet to be the team with a winning record. Now, as far as the first
Cowboys
was, it will be Dorsey a scapegoat. Abso-freaking-lutely. So it was Dorsey that was throwing all them picks on the field, or was that Allen? It was Dorsey that couldn't hang on to the football, or was that Allen and James Cook? You know, and I get what I think it was JJ that said on Picked Off. Like, yes, Josh Allen, he can throw you into games and he can throw you out of games.
He's thrown him out of a lot of games this season.
He has,
Brett Favre, man.
And that's on decision making that ain't on Ken Dorsey. I'll stick to that, absolutely. And you know what? I think he's a scapegoat because McDermott was being looked at, so he had to make a move. But at some point in time, they're going to start to look at McDermott. Now, if the Bills don't make the postseason, like some people on this panel may pick, they will start to look at McDermott. I'll say it again. The regression of the Buffalo Bills since 2020. 2020, lost the AFC Championship game. 2021, lost the AFC Divisional in overtime. 2022, lost the AFC Divisional by 17. 2023, 5-5 at this point.
Well, so, to be fair with you, first thing I'm going to say to rebuttal that is, yes, they made it to the AFC Championship the first year, but they were a better team despite that they lost to Kansas City. That was one of the greatest games ever played. That's not. Absolutely. I don't think that's an indication of regression. That's just the way it goes sometimes. But this team this year has definitely regressed from those other teams.
Yeah. No. And you'd be right about that one. And mind you, the context that I'm explaining here as far as that was just going year by year. It remains to be seen what happens like the rest of this year. Okay. It's just going by results of year by year. That's it. The one in 2020, 2021, they were way better teams than this one. They were way better teams. This is just result based. That's all. But that's all I got. JJ, what you got?
It's not. This is a layered topic I can see because you have two fronts. First, you're asking about was Ken Dorsey a scapegoat, and the second is can they recover? Yes, he was a scapegoat, and yes, they can recover. They just gotta run the goddamn football. If you look at Brett Favre's best year statistically, it was with Minnesota, and he had Adrian Peterson. Run the football. You need a gunslinger. If you want to get it down deep to like Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs and everything, everybody knows you're not going to run the football. So they're just going to play those things. They're just going to play that deep ball. But if you run the football when you were doing it earlier in the season, Diggs was going off because you were forcing the defense to collapse on you, which then opens it up down there. But this is Sean McDermott. I don't know how many more times can you see it and realize that you have a talented quarterback. He has a gunslinger. I don't mind his gunslinging abilities at all. I just know give him a goddamn football, a guy to run the football, and then you'll be all right. How do you get a quarterback or how do you even get an offensive line into rhythm if they're not into rhythm? Running the football. But when you don't run the football, you rely on the guy, you're going to get what you're going to get. They played the Bills. The Bills, they can definitely recover, but because James Cook's not bad. James Cook can get off. Run the football. And you're coming up against some teams that you can run the football on. And in today's NFL, when they're not used to physical running offenses, that gives you a chance to start getting traction on them. The Jets' run defense could be a little suspect. The Chiefs' run defense has been a little suspect sometimes in certain situations as well. It's just run the football. If you run the football, Josh will be fine.
Okay.
Tyler?
Yeah, I think he needs to check it down more is what I think Josh Allen needs to do. I said that in the last segment, but Ken Dorsey is the scapegoat. I feel like that's what the Bills do right now. I feel like they just get rid of OCs, and that's what they're gonna blame. I thought when Dable was there, that Allen was checking it down a little bit more and being a little bit of a smarter quarterback at the time. I think I'm just not impressed with Sean McDermott. I'm tired of it. Like, I think he does need to get fired. I will say this. For one, James mentioned the schedule that they got upcoming. Jay mentioned also he thinks, the Cowboys might cowboy. Is that game in Dallas?
That game is in Buffalo, but they got to go to Philadelphia, and they have to go to Philadelphia and to Arrowhead.
I personally think the season is done. I do. I think the Bills will probably win a few more games. I think they'll probably be like an 8-win team, but I think maybe not, maybe even 7-10. But I'm not impressed. I don't think they're a playoff team. I think teams that are like getting hot right now, like Denver, even, we all made fun of them in the beginning of the season. They're starting to get it together. They've won like 3 in a row. I think these teams, you look at that loaded AFC North, Burrow's out, but those other 3 teams all look like playoff team potentials. I think it's done for the Bills. And I said it in the beginning of the year when we talked about predictions. I said, and this is when Rodgers was healthy, I said, I think Miami's winning this division. And that was with a healthy Rodgers. And I also said when we talked about that AFC East, I said, I think this is the downfall of the Buffalo Bills. I think their window is closed, and I think they're going to have to make changes in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean the AFC is just it is loaded. Like we talked about like Cleveland, right? Like if the season ended right now, they'd be the 6th seed. They'd be in, know. Sure. And Buffalo's like on the outside looking in. So
and I'll be honest, like just even with Cleveland's situation, if they play right now in a football game, I think the Browns win that game.
Oh yeah. Dom?
Is Dorsey a scapegoat? Absolutely. Can they recover and make the postseason? Maybe. I think if they lose to the Jets, they're done. It's funny because early in the year, when Cincy stumbled out of the gate, I thought that was Buffalo's opportunity to step up and get past them. Now they have another opportunity to do that. But the thing is, it's kind of like it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Like whether they make the playoffs or not, I don't think it matters because I don't think they're going anywhere.
Sure, but you have to look at the Buffalo Bills before the season and the expectations of this team. For them to like not be a playoff team, you have to say like that's a major disappointment for the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, it is. But like Jay said, and I've been saying this like as time has gone on for the last couple of years, like they looked like they were a team on the rise, but they got to the highest level 3 years ago, and now they've been at or below that every year since. Like Tyler said, that window is essentially shut. Josh Allen was just a turnover machine, and I think what's going on now with him, because Orlovsky was the one that said it, he's got to get outside the pocket and make plays. Well, he's tired of getting outside of the pocket and either getting hit when he's trying to throw or having to run it. So now a lot of the picks, because I went back and watched a lot of them, a lot of those interceptions he's thrown have been from the pocket because the O-line's not bad. They can protect him. He's tired of getting hit. So, he's making risky throws into windows that may or may not be there, period, or be open. And again, like Tyler said, he's looking like Brett Favre. I mean, he's got a tremendous arm, but there's every once in a while there's a throw that you should not make.
Yeah.
So what's interesting, and I'll just really break this down. Patrick Mahomes had his Isaiah Pacheco. Kansas City goes all the way and wins the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts has a great running game. They go all the way to the Super Bowl and lose. Lamar Jackson has a running game. They seem to be always at first in their division and doing what they're supposed to be doing to probably make it to the playoffs. Jared Goff with the Detroit Lions got a run game. Where's Jared Goff now? Rocking and knocking it out. Like, when are you going to see the value in what you have been claiming to not be valued?
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill looked great with what? A run game with Derrick Henry. When are we going to figure this out? Now look at the quarterbacks that have been struggling. Austin Eckler and the Chargers don't run the football like that. Justin Herbert up and down. The Bills, Josh Allen up and down. The Bengals this season up and down. Don't have a run game. Then last night when they did have a run game, you could rely on that and things start to change in the second quarter. Run the football.
All right. As long as we don't group the Packers into this, because we don't have an offensive line. That's our issue.
No, and you know, the further
you don't have a quarterback either.
The further solidified,
you don't have any receivers either.
We don't have a lot.
No, a little further on what I said. Josh Allen also leads the league in turnovers since was it 2018 when he first came in. And understand that
Josh Allen.
Yeah. So, understand in a lot of cases, a team will get rid of coaches before they franchise quarterback. Like if the season would have ended right now and the Bills didn't make it, they had to get rid of one person. Would it be Coach McDermott or Josh Allen? My money is on Josh McDermott.
That's moot. That's a moot point because you can't get rid of Josh. You have too much money invested.
Yeah, much money invested. Well, yeah.
So they have to get rid of the coach. But to be honest with you, to close us out with this topic, all I'm going to say to you is this. Number one, yes, their season is over. Their season is pretty much already over. This is a classic case of you're supposed to be a great team. You're supposed to be a playoff level team, a Super Bowl contender, and you're not handling your own business. Even though it was a divisional game, you lose to inferior teams like the Patriots. You lost to the Patriots. You just lost to the Denver Broncos. You're losing to teams that you should probably be winning against. And when you're going up against the heavyweights, when you're going up to Philadelphia and Kansas City, both on the road, and I just don't think it's going to go well for them. So if they lose to the Jets, their season is absolutely over. Like this is it. And that upcoming stretch, Kansas City, Philadelphia, Dallas, they have to win 2 out of 3 of those games, if not all 3 of them, to even give themselves a chance. And I have no sympathy for the Bills. I have no sympathy for Josh Allen. He's, like you said, turning the ball over at a tremendous rate. And he's the one that's putting the team in the bad position, and the coaches are all getting blamed for it. So I think Josh needs to take more responsibility, and other people need to hold Josh more accountable for that. So I don't think much is going to change with the coordinator change or anything with the Buffalo Bills. But, guys, let's talk about midseason awards. MVP, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, Coach of the Year. Who are we going to give all these awards to? Let's start with the Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think clearly you have to give it to CJ Stroud. What he's done this season is amazing. And defensively, I'm going to give it to Jalen Carter with my Eagles. Jalen Carter has just been unstoppable. He's a grown man under there. He's getting triple teamed. He's throwing guys to the ground. He's dominating. So CJ Stroud, Jalen Carter for me.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, CJ Stroud. Hands down. And there's so much of a gap between 1 and 2. It's crazy. So, CJ Stroud most definitely. Defensive, I'm going Myles Garrett. Literal game-changing player, number 1 defense in the league, and he's the best player on that defense among a bunch of dogs, no pun intended. Comeback Player of the Year, we already mentioned it, Josh Dobbs. Not only just his backstory, it's kind of what the, comeback player of the year award is kind of based on, but just overall good dude and everything. He's floated around a bunch of teams in the NFL, and he never gave up, and he finally got his shot. And here's to him making the most of it. But those are my 3.
Time out. We're not going all the way through. We're just starting with. We're just gonna have Rookie of the Year come back, and we're gonna do it like that. So JJ, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, I'll give it to my man, what's that boy name? CJ Stroud. Because, bar none, I don't think there's any close. I think, the things that he's doing with that team, and shout out to D'Amico Ryans and all of them for putting it together.
Mm-hmm.
And defensively, I'll go with that rookie corner up in Seattle. That's a nice bright spot for them. He's definitely doing his thing.
Mm-hmm. I like that kid.
He's definitely got a potential there. Pete Carroll is showing how much.
Will Witherspoon.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a dog.
Very much so.
Dom or Tyler? Which one of you guys? Let's go.
I'll go quick. I'll say same. It's Stroud and Witherspoon. Although, I mean, it's not close, but shout out to my man, Lions rookie tight end Sam Laporta. Like, he's having one of the best, if not the best, rookie tight end seasons ever. But Stroud is just so far ahead of him.
Ooh. Well, I'll tell you what, Stroud for sure, offensive rookie of the year. I think it's going to be kind of unanimous come season end. I like the argument for defensive rookie of the year because I agree with James in a way. Like Jalen Carter.
Get out of here, John Shearer.
On what planet is A-Kane getting with C.J. Stroud?
If he was healthy
the whole year,
I don't know.
Nah.
But I mean, it's
Go ahead.
the same as last year. Like the rookie awards might have been different. Breece Hall wins it by far if he doesn't get hurt.
I will say that I think Coach Ryan has a lot to do with Houston's success, but C.J. Stroud is offensive rookie of the year. Defensive rookie of the year, I love what Jalen Carter's doing, but I do agree I really like Will Witherspoon. I think it's interesting to me, like last year, they had Woolen was a rookie last year for Seattle, right?
Yep.
And he was mentioned. So it's interesting how that secondary works out with these rookies for Seattle. But yeah, I'll take Witherspoon and I'll take Stroud, but I like the Jalen Carter pick as well.
Okay, comeback player of the year. A lot of people are going to give it to Damar Hamlin, but I am not. Damar Hamlin is just like the story that everyone likes to talk about, but has this guy even like played this season?
No, has not recorded a stat.
He hasn't even really played this season, so he's probably just going to win the award out of sympathy. And don't get me wrong, like I'm happy that the guy is okay and everything because
isn't that what Alex?
That was a disaster last year, but I don't think he deserves it. I don't, and I think Josh Dobbs, if Minnesota can get to the playoffs, especially, then I don't think like there's anybody more deserving than him. So I am gonna give it to Dobbs if it were up to me.
I've already made my point that it's Josh Dobbs for me, but I will say, like, I feel like they did this a few years ago with Alex Smith when they gave him comeback player of the year. Granted, I get that his, terrible surgery and all of that, couldn't play football again, but yeah, I don't see how you could not give it to Josh Dobbs. Just like last year, I don't see how you couldn't give it to Geno Smith. So
Geno's starting to look a lot more like pre-2022 Geno, though.
Yeah, he's all right, though. I think he's still doing all right.
They're still in contention for the division.
JJ, comeback player of the year.
Nah, I'm not going to do that because he needs a little bit more under his weapon.
Do it.
You're going to pick Hamlin?
No.
He's going to pick fucking Lamar Jackson.
Right team, but wrong person because his resume hasn't stacked up yet, but each week he's starting to get more and more. And last night, he recorded his first 100-yard game in a very long time. I can see Odell finishing this season and becoming comeback player of the year because he has been gone for a couple seasons and he came back and he and Lamar are starting to really figure it out. And each week, when you start progressing, I started seeing flashes of the guy I remember when he was first, when he coming to the league. I would go on a limb and say Odell is my dark horse for comeback player of the year.
Okay, fair enough. Which other ones do we have left? MVP. Who's the MVP right now? Who you guys giving MVP to?
God, you guys are gonna hate my answer on this. I'm still gonna give it to Patrick Mahomes right now, man.
Oh, you mean the one that lost to Jared Goff?
Week 1.
I don't think it's Goff. I don't think Goff's in the discussion.
I think it's Mahomes, man. I know it's a cliche answer to give. I get it. You know, you could say Tua, you could say Hurts. Like, I get it, but for right now, I think it's Mahomes for me.
Maybe this coming Monday is going to answer the question outright, but we still got to do the show.
I mean, maybe Action Jackson. Maybe JJ can make a push for him. He's probably in the running as well.
Lamar Jackson, the king of the comeback loss. That guy,
the same one that whipped your behind.
I was gonna
fine.
say,
1 week.
man,
There the tape.
Same one that whipped your behind. It wasn't even a doubt. Like,
fine.
No, I think what's this, MVP?
Yeah.
This year, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it's been kind of lacking. But I would have to give it to Patrick Mahomes as well, because at the end of the day, they're still on top. They still are, and he's had to deal with drops from his wide receivers, bad interceptions sometimes given, Kelsey, being nicked up and down, and he still is, doing his thing. The Taylor Swift is enhancing them because they do very well when she is there. But
and here's the thing, like it also kind of and it maybe maybe the Eagles win Monday night for James, but I picked the Chiefs to win on picked off. I think that's gonna calm down. They're like, even though it's a MVP award that they're giving it, if they see a head-to-head and they see that Patrick Mahomes, beats the Eagles again, beats Jalen Hurts again, even though Jalen Hurts outplayed him in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying he didn't. He absolutely did. But I'm saying that's going to benefit Patrick Mahomes in the end as well.
I can understand that.
It's close. I understand the Mahomes answers, but I'm going to give it to Hurts. Hurts is 15-8 this year. Mahomes 17 touchdowns to 8 picks. Hurts has 0.3 points higher in the passer rating, and I think he's 2,700 yards to Mahomes 2,400. But the factor to me is the Eagles only got one loss. So right now they are the best team in the NFC. Absolutely debatable whether people want to say in the NFL if it's still Kansas City and again, that question may get answered Monday night. I'm slightly going to give it to Hurts, but that answer may or may not change Tuesday morning.
Okay, I'll tell you the person that nobody's mentioning, but he's also on the Eagles. I think A.J. Brown needs to be in this conversation.
That's a good point. Yeah.
With what he's done this season, nobody's been able to really stop him. Even though
it's so hard to win that award that isn't a quarterback.
It's going to be hard for him to win it as a non-quarterback, but I think that he has definitely put himself in that conversation. But you know what? That's a good point that you make. That game on Monday night didn't really cross my mind for like MVP talk, but it's going to be a great game between two great teams, the Super Bowl rematch. But Hurts has been doing really well this season. A lot of people thought he was regressing because of all the interceptions and whatnot, but he has been limited. Like, his knee has been hurt.
Yeah, he's banged up.
He hasn't really been able to move like he usually does. He said he was taking his knee brace off this week, so he may be able to start running more, but I don't know. But he's really like improved more as just like a pocket passer and just like dissecting a defense. But you could give it to Mahomes or Hurts, to be honest with you. But that game will definitely be something that decides it, I think. And Coach of the Year, who are we going to give it to Coach of the Year?
Coach Ryan. I'll make it quick. Like Coach Ryan, what he's doing with the Houston Texans is, I give Jay a lot of flowers to his team on picked off, and I stand by it. That was absolutely the right hire for the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I'm going with Coach Ryan's also. The way he has his players fired up and ready to play. And it's not that, it's more than the Texans, having 5 wins thus far, but it's the fact they've actually beaten, good teams. Shout out to John in the comments. A-Chain was averaging 12 yards a carry. Holler at me when he does that against a team with a good record. That's actually good. D'Amico Ryans, because people didn't expect the Texans to be this good this soon. And they've already clearly overachieved in a lot of people's eyes. And it all begins with him. It just all begins with him. He's having the defense flying all over the field. I know I have to go and check their recent standings, but I know before the Tampa game, Texans defense was averaging only allowing 18.6 points per game, which is tied for 6th in the NFL. No one would have known that because it was the Texans, But that is a young, stingy defense. And coming from someone whose last post was defensive coordinator for the 49ers, I knew he was going to be heavy on the defense, and I told everybody, I said, watch, he's going to be heavy on the defense. He's definitely got them ready to play every single week. The Texans' worst loss this season was by the Ravens in week 1, and even then in that game, and me and JJ talked about it, the Texans were in the game until the fourth quarter. Then they lost to the Colts, but it was only by 11 points. They've been in every game this season, and I mean, that right there, I mean, you.
I will add the Panthers loss was an ugly one. You certainly don't want to lose that one, but I will say if I had to give it second and didn't pick D'Amico, I would give it to PC Principal from South Park. I would give it to Dan Campbell on the Lions. So
that would be my pick too.
That would be a good pick too. So,
Dom.
The homer in me wants to give it to Campbell, and I don't necessarily believe in or buy into momentum carrying over from one season to the next, although it looks like I'm wrong about that. But yeah, it's D'Amico Ryans. Everyone expected the Lions to be at least this good. Well, around this good. I only had, maybe 9 or 10 wins. We're definitely going to get there. But what D'Amico Ryans is doing is great. Oh, I wanted to ask you, Jay, because I saw this the other day. Knowing nothing of what we've seen these first, 10, 11 weeks of the season, I keep seeing things that say if the Texans had the first pick, they would have taken Bryce Young. A, do you think that's true? And B, would you have been okay with that?
False, and I would have had no choice but to ride with it, honestly. But I've mentioned this on other programs, and that is, Bryce Young is in year 1, so I'm not going to hold his feet to the fire too
He's
tough.
On a really bad football team.
He's just on a really bad football team. If they were a decent team and he was the reason why they were losing games, that's different. Like if we was talking about him, like we talked about Josh Allen just now, like that'd be different, But because we got Stroud, and I rathered Stroud also. Stroud was just more the pro-style looking quarterback coming out. So
right, and not a midget.
Yeah, Stroud goes about 6'2" and 218, and Bryce Young is even 200 pounds. So, there you go.
All right, JJ, did you go and pick your coach of the year yet?
He did. He said Ryans.
Oh, he said D'Amico Ryans? Okay, so last one is defensive player of the year. I really want to give it to Myles Garrett. Just because of some of the things he's done this season. When you see this guy play, he's just a guy that can take over a game and win a game by himself. So we were asking a question during the step into the gauntlet, like who brings the most value to their team. I think Myles Garrett is the answer to that question. So I'm gonna go with Myles Garrett.
Go ahead, JJ.
Go ahead.
I'll go. I think TJ's the more valuable one, but I will go Myles Garrett because I think Myles Garrett's going to be the reason why Cleveland has a chance to make it to the, the playoffs, because he is proving to be unstoppable on that defensive line. He gets pocket passing quarterbacks, and he has been. That defense is pretty dominant. That defense is strong. I gotta give it to Myles.
Yeah, I'll second your guys' motion on that. I think it's Myles Garrett. I will say he was balling when he had Joe Woods as his defensive coordinator. Now you see what the Browns are, what that defense looks like when they got Schwartz as their defensive coordinator.
How about that?
Schwartz should be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, if you ask me.
No.
No, I think so. I know he has been, and he wasn't successful as one, but if they didn't have Stefanski, I could only, because he makes so many boneheaded moves.
You mean like Jim Schwartz used to do, trying to challenge something that wasn't challengeable?
But he could have learned from that. You know, you don't think
well, once you're a head coach in Detroit, your head coaching career is over.
All right. Well, to Dom, we'll just keep him as regardless. If there was a defensive coordinator of the year award, I'd give it to Jim Schwartz right now. What he's doing with the Cleveland Browns, I think, and Myles Garrett was doing this with Joe Woods too. I will say one thing. I really think Max Crosby's balling. It's just the Raiders don't have anyone besides
anything else.
But you know what, Tyler? I actually think they do have a offensive and defensive coordinator a year of award for them, but it's not actually well known because when I've researched like coordinators when I was doing all-time NFL drafts, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing that there was somebody that they were mentioned.
Yeah, there's awards for that. They're just not well known or publicized.
I had no idea, to be honest.
It's a thing. It's just not a big thing that we hear about.
It's like amongst them.
Well, I'll be honest. I think the Ravens offensive coordinator and the Browns defensive coordinator could be the coordinators of the year
I can agree with that if the accuracy continues and the on pace to what he's doing changes. It's the numbers kind of have been different.
All right, we got a few more minutes, guys. So let's just go through. Everyone, just name your defensive player of the year. We got to get to our non-sports topic.
We just did.
Oh, everyone's good. Okay, non-sports topic. Thanksgiving edition. Start one, bench one, cut one, or not start one, bench one, cut one. You have to pick one of each category and make your own like 3-man Thanksgiving lineup. So
okay, I like it.
You can choose one. Here's the rules: 1 main course, 1 side dish, 1 dessert. Go ahead.
For Thanksgiving?
We're not doing
foods only.
Wait, we're not naming start one, bench one, got one. We're not naming 3.
I was gonna say pick 1 from each category.
Okay. Yeah, we only got a couple of minutes left. We kind of got to do it like this. But
all right, go ahead.
Pork roast main, side stuffing all day, every day, and dessert, sweet potato pie.
What'd you say was the first one? Main course?
He said pork roast or some shit. Like I've never had pork roast.
What kind of Thanksgiving do you guys? I've never had that.
No, we have. I mean,
first I've ever heard.
We have pork roast and turkey and ham. So it's usually like 3 of them there.
I got you. All right.
I need to come to your house.
Yeah, that's what's up, Jay. Invite me. Let me get a plate.
Y'all welcome, man. Catch that flight. Go ahead, JJ.
Main, turkey, side, mac and cheese, always, dessert, brownies.
Solid. Go ahead, Dom.
I eat mac and cheese. That's the main if I really want it.
I'm going ham over turkey. Turkey's hella overrated. Tell me how often you eat turkey other than on Thanksgiving. Side dish.
Violation.
Hater.
Side dish. Spicy collard greens. Preferably made by a black person because we whites, we don't know how to do that shit. And dessert. It's Carol's cheesecake.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
I left a layup for you there, James.
You guys are really putting me in this position right now. Okay. Since you guys put me in this position, fine, I'll say it. Obviously, I gotta go with the turkey. Because I mean Thanksgiving is not Thanksgiving without turkey. So you gotta have a turkey, but it all depends. It's all about the chef. Like, if that turkey is dry and disgusting, that's the stuff that makes everyone hate turkey. But I like my turkeys thick and juicy. So
a good Thanksgiving turkey doesn't even need gravy.
It has to be about the consistency, the thickness, and the juiciness of it. And then put a little bit of gravy on top just for something extra. Number 1. Second, right. I'm gonna go JJ on this mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is a staple.
I gotta go too.
Even though I love stuffing. And of course, I got to go with the pumpkin pie because you guys just gave me the layup. So
all right, so I'll go real quick too. I'll go turkey. I'll go my mom's cheesy potatoes. I ask for it every year. Big fan of her cheesy potatoes. So I said that before on the gauntlet. I'm gonna keep saying it every year because that's my favorite. And then I'm gonna agree with Dom. I just love cheesecake. Give me all the cheesecake in the world, man.
Yeah, so you like cheesecake plain, or you like the fruit on top with the
strawberry cheesecake?
Strawberry cheesecake,
either or
blueberry or something.
I like any kind of cheesecake.
Good cheesecake does not need any fruit topping.
But if you want to welcome them toppings, I'm all for it as well.
Fire.
I'm gonna make Tyler. I promise you, I'm gonna make my way back down to Naples again, and I'll just force Carol to make a cheesecake.
All right,
I'll save you.
Do it.
I'm gonna
not even a slice.
I'm gonna hold it to her.
See, Dom mentioned ham, and real quick question, because there's people that have like a consensus that turkey, and I know it's eaten at like both events, right? But sometimes you get the consensus that turkey is more for Thanksgiving, ham is more for Christmas. Do y'all agree?
Yeah.
I mean, I associate it with it, but I've also had ham on Thanksgiving. And it's
I'm a WAP though, so we usually have like some sort of pasta on Christmas, like lasagna.
I was gonna say the same thing. My family always does like pasta on Christmas. That's just kind of like
Dom eats his Stouffer's lasagna on Christmas.
No, Thanksgiving.
That was the most heartbreaking photo I've seen in the last 10 years. Man eating a Stouffer's lasagna on
nothing compared to what
I remember the time I made that meme. Like the Spider-Man movie where he's like,
"Oh, dude, that meme was so good."
It's like
that meme was so good. Bring it back.
Lasagna. Everywhere I go, I see his face.
Bring that meme back. Bring it back.
That's the saddest pic I ever seen, man. I was like, "Why you eating this on Thanksgiving, bro?"
It was
dude,
sad.
we make
I'm gonna send that picture to the group chat when we get
my mom makes lasagna every year for my brother's birthday on January 26th, who passed away, because that's what he always requested on his birthday. So like on his birthday every year, we make lasagna. So that's kind of a tradition we got as well.
I'll say this. If you don't mix your food, we are not friends.
Oh, we're mixing.
Oh, I was gonna say, what y'all know about the Thanksgiving leftover burrito?
Oh man, you put everything together.
Gravy, stuffing,
turkey sandwiches,
potatoes,
turkey sandwiches, pork roast sandwiches. Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I cannot wait for Thanksgiving because we're going down to my aunt's house in Montrose, Virginia, and I'm like, I can't wait.
Gonna have the rest of the yams over there.
I don't really actually like yams. I'm looking forward to the stuffing. I'm looking forward to the mac and cheese. I'm looking forward to the turkey and the famous dinner rolls that my aunt
deviled eggs. Come on, deviled eggs.
Fire. Yes.
Love deviled eggs.
White
like
people, but I love them.
You lost me at
I don't
deviled
care
eggs.
if it's white people or not.
You lost me at deviled eggs.
Loves deviled eggs. That's pretty interesting.
Love deviled eggs, dude.
All right, guys. Well, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you guys all for watching. Hope everyone has a good holiday, and we will see you next time.
See y'all later now.
Good night, Canada. Spay and neuter your pets.
Bye, Dom. What?